Hi everyone, Flaming Footy here and welcome back to another YouTube video on the channel. And today guys, we are going to be considering our AFL 2022 3-game match reviews. Now sorry if there's a little bit of background noise, sorry about that, but this is already delayed enough, so I'm trying to get it out as quickly as possible to you guys. Now in this video, we're going to be reviewing the first 3 games from round 18 of the 2022 AFL season. And you may or may not have noticed that I've actually got some new logos for the teams. Now obviously I haven't changed logos, but I've decided to get a better shot of them, cropping the old ones into this, just to look a little bit cleaner and will align better. And I think it just looks a lot better all round. So anyway, the games we're going to be reviewing are the Doggies and the Saints, the Crows and the Pies, and the Giants and the Lions. So first of all, the Dogs and the Saints. So Friday night was an absolute blockbuster, loomed as one of the biggest games of the round, and the Saints, believe it or not, had more scoring shots than the Western Bulldogs. Western Bulldogs 13-6-84, St Kilda 7-14-56, and the Saints made some really poor mistakes in the first 2 quarters, or the first half, which did penultimately cost them the game after making a bit of a comeback in the final quarter. But again, just their inaccuracy in the third quarter to deliver. They did have their chances, but they never really looked in this game. And it was Western Bulldogs, especially in the first 3 quarters, that really lit up Marvel Stadium. And they are showing that their season is still alive. Their season is still alive. They can still make finals, and they can still do a lot of damage. And Bailey Smith, he was a really big inclusion for the Western Bulldogs, and he made it count. 36 disposals for Jack Sinclair, 3 goals for Jamari Ugle-Hagan, really looking dangerous inside 50. 146 fantasy for Jack Sinclair, 9 tackles for Jack Steele. But the Saints, they took the corridor option a little bit too much in the first half and made way too many costly turnovers, took way too many marks in their back half. They were way too slow with the ball, and there is your clear result. Now, Jack Sinclair, 146 fantasy. You know the Bontempelli, 140, going to do it every week. The Dogs, he is a real carrier of the team. He's one that always puts in 110%. Wilkie, 123 fantasy, 117 for Steele, 109 for Smith, 108 for McRae, 106 for Wood, 104 for Battle, 103 for Treloar, 97 for Billings, 96 for Webster, 93 for Libert, 90 for Richards, 3 goals for Ugle-Hagan, 2 for Bontempelli, King, and then 1 for everybody else. 36 disposed for Jack Sinclair, 34 for Bontempelli. You know McRae and Libber, 31 apiece. Will do it a lot. 30 for Dale, and 29 for Smith. A big inclusion for him. 27 for Wilkie, and then, of course, the Saints skipper, Jack Steele, with the 26. Now to marks, 16 for Wilkie, 14 for Battle, 13 for Wood, 12 for Membry. These players played back most of the game, which was pretty dangerous where the marks are coming from. 11 for Bontempelli, Sinclair, Webster, 10 for Richard Sharman, 8 for Treloar, Dunkley, Billings, 7 for Hannon, Karmas, Heimel, Burns, a high kind of marking game. 6 for Joe Hannison, Marshall and King. There was a lot of marks in this one. Tackles, 9 for Steele, 6 for McRae, 5 for Smith, Williams, Nasai, Wanganeen, Miller, 4 for Western Crouch. Hit outs, 26 for English, 23 for Marshall, 12 for Ryder, 9 for Sweet. Now to the team stats we go, where it was the Western Bulldogs that took more handballs, and the Saints did more kicks, kick into the corridor, which did penultimately cost them. The Dogs went inside 50 only 3 more times than the Saints. The Saints still had their fair share of going in, but again, just didn't convert when it mattered and just didn't take their chances. And they didn't really have a lot of them in the first half. Clearances was the Western Bulldogs. We know they like to play the clearance game. Their midfield is absolutely stacked with your big guns, Bontempelli, Smith, and you can go on from there. McRae, Liberatore, there's a lot more than just that. English, and then the Saints 100 to 158 marks, taking way more marks. And then the Dogs led for the whole game and were definitely deserving of that lead for the entire contest. They were the much better side, and it just showed their first half just made them way too strong. And you knew pretty much at quarter time that the Saints weren't coming back after having a goalless first quarter, but a big win for the Western Bulldogs. And this pushes their claim to the top 8. The Saints now are stuck a long way behind, but both these 2 teams do have a fairly tough run home. Alright, now the second game of the round at the Adelaide Oval for the first of 2 games at 1:45 or 1:15, and the Adelaide Crows 13-8-86 played out a full game. Collingwood 14-7-91 just proved too strong in their second clutch win over the past 2 weeks. maybe Collingwood are just weakening a little bit. Their last few weeks, yes, North and the Crows have been okay, but again, maybe this is a bit of a sign that the Pies aren't performing as well as what everyone thinks they might be. I'm not sure whether it's the opponents that they're playing are getting better or whether they're not as good as what they once were. But anyway, the Pies, they'll still make finals, you'll think. This is a very strong win, and they did it in very wet conditions, a high-scoring game for wet conditions, and it was the Crows kicked the first 20 points of the game, 20-0. The Pies kicked the next 4 goals to lead at quarter time, and then through the second quarter, it's a really interesting contest with the Crows being the better of the sides, though, and leading at half-time and three-quarter time after kicking 2 goals to get themselves right ahead in the contest. But then the Pies just kicked 2 back late in that third quarter, which brought us to the final quarter, which the Crows still did kick 3 goals, but they kicked them a few late, and they were down by just 4 points, and they had a couple of chances late. So you can't say the Crows didn't have their chances, but then the Pies just hung on for a really clutch win, and Pendlebury in his 350th game was really good. Nick Dacos, though, 40 disposals. He will be the rising star winner. I will say that now. This is the performance that makes everyone go, yep, Nick Dacos, he will win the rising star. 5 goals for Taylor Walker, 163 fantasy for Laird, 20 tackles for Rory Laird. 20 tackles, that is an individual effort for sure by Rory Laird. 20 tackles, I think that's the record all year for most tackles in a game. That is insane. Led with the 163 fantasy, 147 for Dacos, 130 for Pendlebury, 127 for Lipinski, 111 for Berry, 111 for Carmichael. Now, another name that we haven't really heard a lot of. Now, actually, he got 24 disposals. All of them were kicks. That's not stuff you see very often, actually, there. 107 for Cameron with a big goal later on in the game. 105 for Maynard, 96 for Thilthorpe, 94 for Brodie Smith, 92 for Crisp, and 90 for Walker. Now the goals and behinds, 5 for Walker, 3 for Murphy, and Nick Dacos. Have a look at this young gun. He will win the Rising Star. He does it all. I don't know, get a highlights package of him up, and it'll take 20 minutes to get through all of them. That is how good this young man is. 2 goals for Johnson and Fogarty, as well as Myercheck. Ash Johnson, another wonderful debut for him. A wonderful debut for him, half-brother of Shane McAdam, so they both got to go against each other in this one, and then McAdam was the underdog with the 1 goal, so Johnson can go and brag about that one to him. 40 disposals for Dacos, as I said, 31 for Laird, 29 for Pendlebury, 28 for Lipinski, 24 for Josh Dacos. Both Dacos brothers are absolute stars. 24 for Carmichael, 22 for Keys, 21 for Berry. Now to the marks we go, where 7 for Thilthorpe, 6 for Maynard, 5 for Walker, 4 for McAdam, Smith, and more. Now, obviously, it's a wet game, so marks are a rare thing. Tackles, though, aren't. It's scrappy. It's a tackling kind of game. 20 for Laird, 17 for Berry. 2 tackling machines for the Adelaide Crows. Now, Berry has been nicknamed the tackling machine. Laird gets in there. He also got the 31 disposals as well. 13 tackles for Lipinski, 12 for Pendlebury and Maynard, 10 for Crisp. And 8 for Saligo, Carmichael, and then 7 for McCreary and Sidebottom. Now to the hitouts we go, where it was, let's see what we've got. 40 for O'Brien, 31 for Cameron, 27 for Cox, 7 for Thilthorpe, 2 for Walker, 1 for Myercheck. Now to the team stats we go, where the Pies had more ball and they went inside 50, 12 more times than the Adelaide Crows. Free kicks were locked at 22 apiece, actually 44 combined in the total. 49 to 59 hitouts in favour of Collingwood. And then they won in the clearances. The Crows, however, won in the centre clearances, but the Pies were the better in the stoppage clearances count. The Pies had more uncontested footy. Again, marks are something you don't see, but Adelaide take 8-1 contested marks for the game. Collingwood took 1 contested mark. Crows took 9-6 marks inside 50. However, the Pies had more marks. The Crows led for most of the game and were probably deserving winners of this one, I'm going to say. But again, look at that. Tackles 107 to 126. The Pies laid more tackles inside 50. But again, you don't take bounces in wet weather footy 2-2. But again, it was the Collingwood Footy Club that get the job done in this game. They are keeping their top 4 hopes alive. Haven't been getting a lot of percentage in the past few weeks, but been doing what they need to do. So now to Marnock Road for the second of 2 1:15 my time or 1:45 Victorian time games, where GWS 9-5-59 lose to the Lions 15-9-99, and Yeah, the Giants, this was a chance. They were a chance in this game, and even though the Lions had their full team back in, this was their home ground advantage. Absolutely wasted it, did the GWS Giants. They were in it for, you could say, 2 quarters, and then it was just the second half, which the Lions were the better of the sides, and it was a really interesting contest in the first 2 quarters. Both teams were really into it, and it was the Lions that were the better of the sides at half time. And then in the third and final quarter, the Lions just say goodbye to the Giants by piling on the pain. Kicked 9 goals in the second half to the Giants that kicked 4. And the Giants, they were a chance in this game, and they stuck out for half of it. But again, just not good enough. And they are now a chance to finish bottom 4 this year. They have shown they're probably a bottom 4 side. Now, whether they finish bottom 4 or not will be interesting to see. But again, they look like they'll probably finish bottom 4 the past few weeks. Yes, they've played against some really good opponents, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see for next week and see how they go. But I reckon they're a chance to finish bottom 4. 29 disposals for Hugh McCluggage, 4 goals for Hugh McCluggage, 142 fantasy for Hugh McCluggage. It's the Hugh McCluggage show. 10 tackles for Stephen Cornelio. AFL Fantasy now, 142 for Hugh McCluggage, 4 goals, 29 disposals, 8 marks, 4 tackles. Really good individual effort. 112 fantasy for Harry Himmelberg. He's really come alive in his new role across half-back, maybe having career bests. And he always sneaks forward and gets the 1 goal as well. Caden Coleman, Kadeen Coleman, 102 fantasy, 98 for Rayner, 96 for Cumming, 95 for the Beast, Reece Matheson, 92 for Cornelio, 91 for Neil, 90 for Taylor, 88 for Ward, 4 goals for McCluggage and Green, 3 for Rayner. Cameron getting the motorbike out a few times, or he probably did. 2 for Hipwood and McStay. Disposals, 29 for Taranto, Himmelberg and McCluggage, 26 for Neil, 25 for Kadeen Coleman, 23 for Cornelio and Matheson, 21 for Mitch Robinson. 9 marks for Payne, 8 for Cumming, Himmelberg and McCluggage. Tackles now, 10 for Cornelio, 6 for Taylor and Matheson, 5 for Ward, Cumming and Archie. Hit-outs now, 26 for Flynn, 24 for Fort, 10 for Keefe, 4 for McStay, 1 for Riccardi, Hogan and Hipwood. So now team stats we go, where it was the Lions that went inside comfortably more times inside 50 than the Giants, 35-58 in favour of Brisbane. And they were pretty much almost a good lock for top 4 Brisbane. And they're showing that, yeah, they're a really good team, and I reckon they'll make top 4 this year. 38-29 hit-outs in favour of the Giants, but then clearances was all Brisbane. Yes, they only won 1 more centre clearance, but they were all over them in the stoppage clearance counts. They took more marks inside 50 as well, led for most of the game, and were deserving winners as well. This team is going to be a threat when it comes to finals time. Their only hiccup is at the MCG, but wow, this was another really strong performance by a really strong team. So now it is half-time at Marvel Stadium, where Richmond are dealing damage over the Tigers. North Melbourne, 9-2-56 lead the Tigers 3-12-30. Now, I'd be pretty worried if I was a Tigers fan right now, watching this game. Now, 3-12 obviously isn't a great score to have. I don't know why the time has started up 1:45 again, but I don't know why. 3-12 isn't a great score to have, and they could probably be in front if they had been more accurate. But yeah, this game could be North Melbourne's, and North Melbourne could win this game and pull off a stunning win if they were to get the job done. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled on that one. So obviously half-time over there at Marvel, and it's actually 62-30. So that makes things even harder. Not 9-2, 10-2. 10 goals too for North Melbourne. That is insane stuff. Have a look at that. And that could just about be things over for Richmond, really. They'll need a strong second half to come back from that. That is going to be tough. And now Carlton play Geelong tonight in what could be one of the biggest games of the round. Fremantle also play Sydney same time. These 2 Saturday night games are going to be absolute rippers, and they are big games for seasons. Sydney's season, Carlton's season is now on the line. If they lose this game, they are vulnerable. If Sydney lose this game, they are vulnerable. Vulnerability is a key thing, and teams like these are going to maybe face it If Port Adelaide lose tomorrow versus Melbourne, their season's over, as too for Gold Coast. Really big games coming up, and we'll go to the ladder, and this is where everything is going to be big now. If North win, they will not be climbing out of bottom spot, but they'll be getting their second win. And for Richmond, that's going to leave them very tense. Very tense indeed, because if Gold Coast, regardless whether Gold Coast or Port Adelaide win, they're not going to move up because of percentage. But if Port Adelaide win and Gold Coast don't, well, then that obviously changes things. So St Kilda are a real chance to go down to 12th if both Port Adelaide and Gold Coast both win. But if they both lose, St Kilda will stay in 10th, and their finals hopes will be hanging on by a thread, and Port Adelaide and Gold Coast, you'd be thinking season over. But again, if Richmond lose, well, then that changes the whole ball game of things again. If Sydney win, which is very unlikely, but if they do, then that will put them a step further. And if Carlton win, that'll put them a step further and really, really, really contend for the top spot. It's a lot of stuff going on now. Carlton and Collingwood's percentage are both really weak. So to get up there would be pretty tough. But again, they'd be on equal top. And we can have a real, if the Dockers lose, and the Demons, and the Cats, we can have all the way down to 6th on 48 points, which would be pretty insane. A 6-way top spot tie. Now, that would be pretty interesting if that was to happen. But again, I don't think that will happen. I think the Cats will get the job done. I think the Demons will get the job done. I think the Dockers will get the job done, which will, again, see what we've seen the past few weeks. Which will, again, Brisbane, they're a game behind, so they'll probably drop back down to 4th. If the Dockers win. But there's some real activity going on around the top 8 right now. And, there's a massive game going on. Richmond versus North Melbourne. So, if you are not watching that game, I would recommend to watch it. There's a really big second half coming up, and I reckon Richmond will be coming back. I reckon they'll be smelling victory. I don't think they'll win, but I reckon they'll be coming back, and they could create one of the biggest comebacks of the season if they were to get the job done from here. North Melbourne can still give up this game. It's not their game just yet, but boy, oh boy, what an upset of the year. I'm calling it if it happens. If it happens, it is upset of the year for sure. Carlton versus Geelong. Make sure that you watch that one, though. That should be really interesting. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. Send you guys and miss another video on the channel. We're getting really close to 400 subscribers, so make sure to hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys all so much for watching. So bye everyone. Flaming Footy out.